So it's that time of year. Cheshbon and Hanefesh. It's what everyone's thinking about. This Motzei Shabbos, we're going to start to say Slichos. And, as Rosh Hashanah is just around the corner, right? At some point, right, you must be thinking, I got to make sure to set aside time and to take an accounting of what's gone on this past year. How has my prayer been? How has my Torah been? How has my relationships been between family, between friends, between me and Hashem? So I'd like to suggest that amongst your, Cheshbon and Hanefesh plans, that you also make sure to leave some time for Cheshbon and Hanefesh about work. Now, you may think, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing that, right? To be thinking about how honest I was, at work. And that's very important, and you should do that too. But I'm speaking about a different type of Cheshbon and Hanefesh. And that Cheshbon and Hanefesh is to ask yourself, how excited was I day to day when I showed up at my job? How alive was I when I was doing my job throughout my day? And how engaged was I in what I was doing? You might be thinking, what does this actually have to do with Rosh Hashanah? Obviously I want to be more effective. I want to, be happier. Maybe I try to think to switch jobs, but it's a lot deeper than that. And the truth is that this week's Parsha tells us a secret why and tells us how we're able to take this message and totally transform, God willing, our next year. So I still remember the first time I came across this Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Shemaiah comes and he says, love work. And I remember when I actually thought about it for a minute, I was like, wait, it sounds like something I just read in a LinkedIn article. Steve Jobs spoke about how it's important to love your job, because then you never feel that you're working. And I was like, what does this actually have to do with Pirkei Avos? And why is Shemaiah telling us this? So I decided I'm going to figure it out. So I started to open up, one explanation, another commentator. And I came across this Abarbanel, which totally shocked me, blew me out of the water. The Abarbanel asked the question I was asking, and you would ask, is that why love work? We have different words in Hebrew, right? It could have said la'asok b'melacha. The person should do their work, right? Be honest, do your job well, right? In fact, maybe we shouldn't, love our work. I don't know, just do it. But the Abarbanel answers, actually, that was specifically chosen. And the message is that it's a person should not just show up at work every single day and do their job. They should not just show up at work every single day. And he says these words, feeling like I just need to be here. I'm forced to be here. If you do that, you've missed something. Rather, love what you do. Be engaged by what you do. How much? So here's the craziest part. The Abarbanel says that a person should love their work so much so that when they do their work, they're going to do it b'simcha u'v'tuv levav. Translated, just totally excited, totally engaged. Now, if you're sensitive to those words, and this is where this week's Parsha comes in. In this week's Parsha, it talks about all the good things that happen when we behave, and all the not good things happen if we don't behave. And in the middle of what's called the Tochacha, it tells us that why is all of this happening? Right? Why are all of these things not working the way that we would like them to work out? And the Torah says, "Tachas hashalo v'adata Hashem Elokecha b'simcha u'v'tuv levav." We didn't serve Hashem b'simcha u'v'tuv levav. We served God, right? We took out our checklist and we showed up. We may have showed up just like at work. We may have showed up. We did what we needed to do. We prayed. We learned, right? We shook a lulav, but we didn't do it engaged. We didn't do it with excitement. We didn't do it b'simcha u'v'tuv levav. So whoa, this Abarbanel. He chose these words for a reason. He's telling us that when it comes to work, it's not just enough to be there. It's not just enough to like it a little bit, right? We have to like it. B'simcha u'v'tuv levav. We need to serve. We need to be involved in our work in the same level. So when we're doing our Cheshbon and Hanefesh this year, right, we should also ask ourselves this question. How engaged was I? How excited was I? How alive did I feel throughout my workday? Month to month. And if the answer is not so much, so we should ask ourselves, maybe what needs to change? What might I need to do things differently so I can start experiencing work the way that Yiddishkeit wants us to experience it? But before I end, I want to answer that question you might be thinking about. Is that, okay, very nice, but why? Why is that important? Why is that a Torah value? Why is the Barbanel saying "V'sumcha b'tuv levav"? Like it's quite bogus. So I think the answer, while it's deep, and throughout our talks we're going to really unravel it a lot more, but on the most simple level, it's actually quite simple. When we speak about avodas Hashem, listen to the word. The word is avodah. And when we think about what the word in Hebrew is for work, it's avodah, right? It's avodah, it's work. And there are a couple of other things which are called avodah. We know that their karbanos in the Beis HaMikdash were called avodah. And also tzvi, right, which is in place of their karbanos, is called, right, avodah shebalev. So what's the connection? It's just coincidence, 4 things called avodah. So we know that in Hebrew, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything is deeply connected. And the message is very, very clear as a walkway for us marching into this new year. Is that if we think that our work is just something which is just outside of the fold, it's just something we just happen to do, we've missed something. Really, our jobs, which for many of us, we spend so many hours of our lives doing, are really just part of a bigger picture. A bigger picture of our avodas Hashem. And Hashem wants us to take away from this year and to go into the new year with a Cheshbon Nefesh, realizing that how much did I feel that my job was connected to my bigger mission as a Jew? And what can I do so that the upcoming year, that whatever job I'm doing, I'm able to experience my job connected to the bigger picture, and I'm able to tap into this mindset that Hashem had in mind for us, that we should show up every single day super excited. I bless you, myself, and all of us. We should be able to do this Cheshbon Nefesh, and God willing next year to be able to experience this on a day-to-day basis. Have a good Shabbos.